Today on the DNVR Broncos Podcast, do the Broncos now have the best weapons in the AFC West at long last? Also, there's a silly little debate going around that Hank and I really want to talk about, and I'm going to make Hank talk about it too. Let's do it.
Podcast live from the Toyota Lounge. Opening day. Well, it's Rockies opening day.
Yes.
Which I'm personally very excited about.
Yeah, I'll be excited. I'll be excited until I'm not.
That's what I say.
Yes.
That's my thought. The season isn't over yet.
Like I said yesterday in the All City Hangout, we're winning the World Series until proven otherwise.
Yep.
And
I mean, you can't
could be by the end of this week. I don't know.
Right. You can't lose 100 games. You can't lock in 100 losses for sure for at least 100 games from now.
Leicester won the Premier League.
Right.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen. We're going to talk about some baseball later. Well, not really.
Kind of.
Well, sort of. It is baseball.
We're going to talk about baseball through a Broncos football lens.
Right. Right.
You're going to have to stay tuned.
It might be the first negative thing we say about the Broncos today.
Could be.
Could be. We'll see. Should we just jump right in? I think so. Today we're talking about the best weapons in the AFC West. Because I was thinking yesterday when I was talking about the Chargers and we're doing the power rankings, my thought was like the Broncos have 3 skill position players better than any of the Chargers skill position players.
Wow.
With Dobbins, Waddle, and Courtland. And I kind of stand by that. So I figured today we might as well just run through and talk about all of the AFC West skill position players.
Okay.
Starting with the receivers. So the Broncos, we all know, Jaylen Waddle, Courtland Sutton. You go to
Troy Franklin,
who might rank surprisingly high. The Chiefs, Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy.
Continue and say Marvin Mims and Pat Bryant.
Right. Would you rather have Xavier Worthy or Rashee Rice? Or sorry, than Xavier Worthy? Because I think there's some numbers that make it a little bit closer than you'd think.
For Marvin Mims?
Yeah. You would take Xavier Worthy.
You would.
But
I'm just saying, like, 1 through 5 matters because the Broncos have an insane depth of position.
Oh, totally. But yeah, so you're looking at the Chiefs, who have Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, along with Tyquan Thornton and Nico Remigio. Remember, he made a couple little plays.
No.
Good. Jalen Royals, who we talked about in the draft. I want to say Mountain West guy because I always hear Utah State. Because I always whenever I think about him, I hear Justin Michael talking about him because he always gives us the
Mountain West report.
Right.
It just made me think of Lorde. Whatever happened to her? She had that song, Royals.
Yeah. All I know about her is what I learned from South Park.
Wow.
Right. I do like that show. I think so. The Chargers, I don't even know who their number 1 is at this point. Like, I guess it has to be Quentin Johnston. They drafted Trey Harris early last year. Ladd McConkey's
probably their number 1 in terms of
he was
their best player.
But Ladd McConkey is just Hunter Renfrow, who shows up and you're like, oh my goodness, how'd they get this slot receiver who's this good? And year 2, you're like, wait, he couldn't even get like 800 yards.
Was he healthy?
He missed a game.
He was.
Yeah. And it's like, well, okay, maybe he isn't an awesome receiver. Maybe he's just like a good slot receiver.
I do like have a ritual of in the morning of how many touchdowns did he have?
Let's see. That's Ladd McConkey is his name.
So
what a funny name.
In the morning before the NFL slate, I just try to make a anytime touchdown parlay of one player from every team in the morning slate.
Why not?
And I included him a bunch of times, and I feel like it never hit once.
6 touchdowns.
Okay.
Yep. Played 16 games, 66 catches, 789 yards, 6 touchdowns. But it was 1150 the year before when, because you get the shiny new rookie and you're like, look, he's awesome, so we'll keep feeding him. But then next thing you know, you're like, we have other guys that we're going to throw the ball to. We're not just going to like build our offense around showing this guy off. And when you do that, a lot of the guys just kind of drop off.
Yeah.
Like Hunter Renfrow, who took this very similar trajectory. Also, you have the Raiders in the division, who
have players.
Right. Some of them you'd think are just kind of made up names. So Trey Tucker, who is probably their number one.
My God.
Jalen Naylor, who has never had a 500-yard season, but they gave him $10 million a year.
Sure.
Jack Beck, who will remember.
Yes, I liked him at TCU.
Right. He was fun in the draft. Let's get a number on Jack Beck. Let's see if he actually did anything last year. It's
pronounced Betch.
Betch. I'm hoping we never have to learn. Yeah, played every game.
Okay.
Pretty impressive. 20 catches, 224 yards, still yet to score a touchdown. Made 3 tackles.
Wow.
Those are the Raiders.
More tackles than interception, or more tackles than touchdowns.
Right. And then Dante Thornton was exciting.
Yeah.
Speedy guy out of Tennessee.
Yeah, people were weirdly really high on him going into last year.
Old friend Philip Dorsett. My old friend Brendan Rice.
Ah, yes.
Who I think might get some run this year because those other names are not inspiring. So start here. Best receiver in the AFC West is
Jaylen Waddle.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think so to me, it's Jaylen Waddle number 1, Courtland Sutton number 2.
Yep.
You look through the Chiefs last year because I think you go there next with Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice. So Xavier Worthy played 14 games, had 532 yards and a touchdown. Right. And so people talk about Xavier Worthy in a different way. He had 638 as a rookie, which puts him almost into Troy Franklin territory is what I'll call that. And then Rashee Rice, who as a rookie had 938 yards, then played 4 games the next year, played 8 games last year, 571.
Oh my God.
So for his career, 64 per game, which in a healthy season would give you just over 1,000.
Which is what Courtland did last year.
Right.
Except and he actually did it, not hypothetically
did it, which is a big distinction between those two things.
Holy cow, man. Those guys get so much unnecessary buzz just because they're on the Chiefs.
Also, who's their quarterback over there?
Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, right. So they might be maximized at those numbers.
That's what I was going to think. I was actually ready to knock them down a peg and be like, well, you have to include the Mahomes tax here. Like, Peyton Manning made Griff Whalen look good.
Right. But it turns out there's no need to even knock them down a peg because they're not on a good peg anyway.
Very low peg.
Low peg.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's we don't even have to debate that.
No. And so, Quentin Johnston, back-to-back 700-yard seasons, played 14 games last year at 735. It's solid.
Is there a receiver in this division outside of Courtland and Jaylen Waddle who's had a 1,000-yard season? Oh, McConkey.
McConkey. Yes, McConkey. Also, Keenan Allen is now gone from the Chargers, so he can't get you the... It's like Nikola Jokic never played with an all-star, but he did play with 35-year-old Paul Millsap. You're like, well, but it's not really the same thing.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a pretty clear Jaylen Waddle, Courtland Sutton, 1-2.
Yeah. I think a Chargers podcast would have a hard time debating this.
Right.
A Chiefs podcast would have a hard time debating.
I mean, Chiefs podcast wouldn't even talk about this because they just like to live in their world where they have good receivers.
Yes.
Who is the number 3 for the Chiefs?
They're too busy covering
Tyquan Thornton,
DUIs and
that's right,
other incidents.
Right. No, it's basically a true crime podcast. I think, I want to make the case for and Troy Franklin's number 3. You probably can't do that. You probably have to give it to Quentin Johnston or Ladd McConkey.
Yeah.
And it might be just those two in that order.
Rashee Rice, healthy.
Right. Is right there. I think that's a group of 3. Rashee Rice, Quentin Johnston, Ladd McConkey.
And Troy?
I think you have to put Troy behind him.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
I think you have to.
I think that's fair.
I'm really close to saying he shouldn't be behind.
So this is tier 2 if we were making tiers.
Yep. Tier Broncos is tier 1. Tier all these mid AFC West receivers. Also, we haven't mentioned the Raiders in a bit. I don't think there's a need. We'll get to them later. But yeah, so I think those 3, put them in any order you want. I don't really care what the order is. And then after that, you get to have the Xavier Worthy, Troy Franklin discussion, which I'm not even sure is that much of a discussion.
Xavier Worthy has all of this like college aura and like pre-draft buzz.
Right.
And he ran really fast and he scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
He did.
And that's like doing some heavy lifting.
It is. Like heavy
to even
lifting.
have a conversation.
Like again, it's all hypothetical with the Chiefs.
Right.
That's all it is. So yeah, like Troy Franklin has got to be up in that third tier, top of that third tier. I don't know. I guess it's time to learn Trey Tucker.
Sure.
Because I know there were times last year I look up, 696 yards in 17 games.
Okay. As the number one option.
Right. So like if you can tell me he is comparable to Troy Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
Like take your pick, but we're talking tier 3 with the Broncos' third receiver.
Man, I'm really starting. Is it like this elsewhere, or does the AFC West just have really bad weapons? Because like Troy Franklin might be wide receiver 1 on these other teams.
He might be.
At least the Raiders, he would be.
Raiders, he would be.
So like, are they not willing to trade a second round pick for him?
I'm not. I don't know. I don't know.
Not that I would to the Raiders, but
right.
I'm just saying, is there a Raiders comparable team out there who's like Troy Franklin would be our wide receiver 1?
I don't know.
Probably the Dolphins now.
The Dolphins.
They didn't ask for him in the trade.
Because right now they have Malik Washington probably is number 1. Not great. But yeah, I guess one more. We should look at Trey Harris, who was awesome at Ole Miss because he's just so big and so. Just like all the receivers, going back to like AJ Brown or whoever, he was there. Or I'm thinking DK
and AJ
both.
At the same time.
Right, and that's what threw me off. But he's basically one of those guys. 324 yards as a rookie. Again, just doesn't compare. Like there maybe in that next tier you talk Pat Bryant, Jalen Naylor, Marvin Mims, but it is a pretty clear Broncos tier. Those other 3, Quentin Johnston, Rashee Rice, Lad McConkey, and then Troy Franklin probably at the top of the tier with those others.
I really don't think Sean Payton gets enough credit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was Troy's rookie numbers?
He played it all but one game, 263 yards with a couple touchdowns.
I feel like the development from year to year, and I know realize it's not all Sean Payton, but he does such a good job of getting these guys like involved and developing and all that stuff. Like, this is why throughout his career he's never needed to invest heavily in the position.
Right.
He just like had the Marcus Colstons of the world, and Mike Thomas was a second round pick.
Yep.
And like then he just turns these guys into beasts.
Yep. It's working.
It is. What was the Harris? He had a Harris that was good.
Oh boy.
Dante Harris? I don't know.
I don't know. Sounds familiar though. We got to get to the running backs next, which I think was once again going to be a very fun conversation.
Should we rank the teams?
Oh yeah. Let's do teams.
So Broncos number 1 with a bullet.
Yep. Chargers Chiefs is so tough.
I think I like Lad McConkey more than you, so I would go Chargers number 2. Shout out to our friends over at Coors Light. You know what day it is? It's Friday, which means it's a Coors Light Friday, and the weather is not elite today, which is something we're deeply unused to at this point. But tomorrow we're looking at 80, and Sunday we're looking at 78.
That's pretty good.
So you're going to want to get off work today, head straight to your nearest liquor store, and get at least 24 ice cold Blue Mountain crispy Coors Lights to enjoy your weekend properly here in Colorado and wherever you may be. The weather doesn't really matter. All that matters is if the mountains are blue, and you can control that in your own home by putting the beers in the refrigerator if you didn't already understand that.
Or it's keeping your house really cold.
You could also do that. So get over this weekend, get yourself some Coors Light. And hey, if you're thinking to yourself, man, I don't really want to go to the liquor store. Well, you can have it delivered straight to your door by visiting CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Beer.
Also, shout out to our friends over at Xfinity. Xfinity's awesome. And if you sign up for Xfinity, then you can lock in the exact same price for 5 years, all the way to 2031. If you want reliable, intelligent Wi-Fi that manages how much power it's giving to each of your devices to optimize everything that you're doing online, then Xfinity is the answer for you. They find and fix problems before you even notice them. It's like a sixth sense when you use their super intelligent Wi-Fi. So you can game, you can stream, you can just scroll whatever you're scrolling. All your devices work in perfect harmony for 5 years. The best part is there's no annual contracts. You don't need to lock yourself in for the entire 5 years. There's no hidden fees. You also get all of their best equipment included. A lot can change in 5 years. Go get this price, lock it in, again, with no contract. There's no risk in doing it. Lock in your price, unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only, restrictions apply. Back into the Toyota Lounge for the DNVR Broncos podcast.
Surprise commercial break.
Yeah, Dion was a little trigger happy over there.
We're just making sure everyone's on their toes at home.
Right.
So, Broncos won, and I was saying that I'm higher on Lad McConkey than you are. So I think I would have the Chargers too.
Yep. I mean, I think that's right. I think I'd rather have Rashee Rice than Lad McConkey, but that's only if he's actually going to play football and not just be in jail or hurt or whatever he's doing.
Yes.
And then you throw in like Quentin Johnston. I'd rather have him, I think, than Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
Even with all of his flaws. So I think it is Chargers number 2.
Okay. And then Chiefs number 3, Raiders number 4.
Right. I always forget about the Raiders. Yeah. So running back.
The Raiders don't even feel like they're trying at the position.
It makes you, because like if they still had Jacoby Myers, for example, it'd be a different conversation.
It's like every team. Let me put it this way: every team in college football is pretty happy with their receivers.
Right.
Like they feel like they've got the guys to go out there and throw the ball around.
Totally.
How does an NFL team end up with this group?
I don't know. Because again, Jacoby Myers was in the building. He was a 1,000-yard receiver in 2024 with, who was their quarterback? That was pre-Geno. I think Aiden O'Connell started games for him. Man, that is just sad. Yeah, Gardner Minshew. It was Gardner Minshew and then Aiden O'Connell, and then we got one start from Desmond Ridder. Also, their punter threw a pass that year.
Did Geno Smith look any better than Aiden O'Connell did?
No.
I don't think so either.
No.
We paid him a lot of money for Aiden O'Connell performances.
Right. And if the Raiders had just held on to Jacoby Myers, I don't even know what they got for him in the trade. You might put him in front of all the other AFC West receivers who aren't Broncos.
Yeah, I think he would have been.
Yeah. But they made their bad decision. Running backs. So the 4 starters, you have J.K. Dobbins, you have Kenneth Walker, you have Ashton Jeanty, and you have Omarion Hampton. I take the 2 vets over the 2 rookies.
2 rookies last year.
Last year rookies, yes.
Yeah. Kenneth Walker, how much? I feel like he has to be number 1 as the reigning Super Bowl MVP.
Only because of the health.
The health, yes.
Like if he and JK are both healthy, I don't think it's close.
Right,
like,
and if JK is healthy and running the ball for the Seahawks in that game, he's probably Super Bowl MVP too.
And he's putting up a lot more production than Kenneth Walker did.
Yeah, so it's hard for me to make the JK case just because saying if healthy is a really big if.
Exactly. And Kenneth Walker, he did have 1,000 yards as a rookie back in the day. And the middle couple of years after that, there was a reason we thought that he was not a starting NFL running back and why he wasn't starting some games. But then last year, he did get back to 1,000 yards. It's just, I mean, it's not a 1,000-yard season because he's a good running back. It's a 1,000-yard season because there's 17 games and they gave him the ball enough.
And he's on a really good team.
Right. He gave him 4.6 per carry. They gave him the ball 221 times, which is kind of crazy. And because of that, he's able to get up over 1,000. But availability is an ability. So you have to give it. What did JK finish with last year? Because he was like 700, right?
I like your adaptation of that phrase.
What?
It's not availability is the best ability.
It is.
That would be wrong.
But
it is an ability.
Right. It's just when I go back and see, for example, so like Kenneth Walker, 1,027 yards in 17 games.
Yeah.
And then J.K. Dobbins, 772 yards in 10 games. Like there are they're not even like in neighboring tiers in terms of like quality of running back. It's just that he actually has been on the field.
Yep.
And so you probably do have to say Kenneth Walker 1. And the contracts reflect that, right?
Yeah.
They do.
I could be available for the Broncos.
Could you?
18 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, because they would never use me.
Okay, fair
so
enough.
I would just continue to be available every single week. And
pull a
because
hamstring
I
in
don't
camp?
have any other abilities that are useful to
Right.
them, that defines that availability is not the best ability.
Right, exactly. It is not the number one thing you're looking for. Okay, so Kenneth Walker probably goes over J.K. Dobbins. I still take Dobbins over, again, just this year, over Jeanty and Hampton. Is that
You're
crazy?
No, I don't think so at all.
Mm-hmm.
Those two guys had flashes.
Right.
Hampton was hurt.
Right.
So if you're talking about all the seasons that JK has been hurt, then you also have to talk about the Hampton's 1-for-1.
Exactly.
I
take Jeanty over him.
Jeanty is just
There's juice
so
there.
hard to know because he has to play on that team.
Right.
And that's really unfortunate for him because he's going to be there for a while.
Yeah. I get like, where is he? 18th in yards after contact per attempt. Out of what? 50. Number 1 being Devon Achane, which I think is very notable. It's too late now to go get him.
Is it?
I think having all the guys you have, it probably, like, you probably missed your window.
Remember you said the Broncos should make a trade for a running back at the trade deadline?
That could be the guy. That could be the guy who, again, you're talking Kenneth Walker, Super Bowl MVP. Achane has twice as many yards.
Well, and that's what I'm saying is you always come back. Like the Broncos did it perfectly with Waddle.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to him at the trade deadline, didn't get it done. You come back later, you say, how about now? Do you like this deal now?
Right.
Team's a little closer to the draft. They're like, you know what? Let's load up on those picks.
And then when you go through, so like broken tackles for running backs, Jonathan Taylor 1, Javonte Williams 2, Ashton Jeanty 3, Jaylen Warren 4, Kenneth Walker 5, Devon Achane 6. That's your speed guy with the broken tackles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because no one can get a good angle on it.
No.
Okay, so Jeanty is 3 and Hampton's 4.
Availability at the very least should separate.
And
them.
that's a pretty good group.
It
For
is.
as bad as the wide receiver
High
group
upside.
was, the running back group's pretty good.
There's a chance that like Jeanty might be bad. Hampton might always be hurt. Dobbins might not be able to play. And Walker turns out to be like a mid running back who's by far the best. But the upside with that group is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So you get into the backups where I think RJ Harvey, I'm not sure he should be too far behind Hampton and Jeanty, if at all.
Yeah.
Because of what he does as a receiver, which is tough to factor in. Again, like more touchdowns than anybody we've talked about so far.
Yeah. He's got to be the next one.
Yeah. And even that might be a bit conservative. Brashard Smith, Amari DeMercado, Shunderick Powell. Which team's backup running backs is that?
Okay, DeMercado's on the Raiders.
Nope. Those were the Chiefs. Brashard's, so no
Was
backup.
he on the Raiders at one point?
He was Cardinals last year, I think.
Oh,
I mean, he might have been bouncing around before that, though.
Brashard Smith. You said that one?
Yep.
I thought he was on the Chiefs.
He is. Those all
Okay.
three are Chiefs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying one of each.
One team has Chris Collier and Dylan Lobb as their backups.
That's got to be the Raiders.
That's the Raiders. That is the Raiders. Man, they're bad. And then Keaton Mitchell with the Chargers. Sneaky.
I liked him.
Yeah. Kamani Vidal for like a moment was a pretty good
him too.
replacement. Jarrett Patterson was he Buffalo?
Buffalo.
Yeah.
All-time
Lamar Johnson.
leading rusher in college football.
I think that's Jaleel. But I think Jarrett Patterson had something like
I
that.
thought Jaleel had the most touchdowns.
No, he was yards.
Okay.
Maybe Patterson, maybe single season? No, because that's the one that Jeanty was chasing.
Right, and that was someone really good.
Right, Barry Sanders,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, that's right. Jarrett Patterson record.
Yeah, so I think that you have the 4 starters. You've got RJ Harvey behind them, and then you might just have like 4 consecutive Charger backups.
Jarrett Patterson set the FBS record for most touchdowns in a game. 8. And most yards in a game, 409. Wait.
Wow.
And rushing yards against Kent State in 2020, 409 rushing yards.
Those were the same game, right?
I think so.
Okay. They have to be.
Yeah.
Because if you have both, there's no
In
way.
separate games.
Yeah. So I think Broncos. So you have the 4 starters. You have RJ Harvey, which is probably the best of the rest. And then it honestly might just be like Keaton Mitchell, Kamani Vidal from the Chargers, both after.
Did Brashard Smith do anything last year? I know he
That's
was
a good question.
Draft darling.
He was like a converted receiver to running back, which gets everybody going. But then they all show up to the NFL, and that doesn't matter. He had 151 rushing yards, 172 receiving, 1 touchdown.
So no, he did nothing.
He did absolutely nothing. And then let's see what DeMarcado did. Just
It's
for
so
fun.
fun. I love draft Twitter because it's very niche and funny, and I think it's great that people are so into it. But it is funny how like it comes around to like the 4th or 5th round or whatever, and people are just like, "You have to take Brashard Smith." Like, what are you doing? How is he still there? And then he gets to the league, and no one even never talks. No one that says like, "Sorry, I don't know why I was so hyped about this guy."
Well, this year it's Adam Randall, who was the receiver at Clemson, like this massive receiver, but wasn't fast enough, couldn't separate, so they put him at running back, and he has like no like wiggle to him. It's just like straight ahead. Nice. And so he's a player who just like has like 6 different ways where he can get you 3 yards, but no path to having the juice to go get you any sort of productive play. But it's like he's so multiple. Yeah. Like he played receiver, now he's a running back, and it's gonna be the exact same thing. At least Brashard Smith was fast. But yeah, I think there's no depth for the Chiefs. DeMarcado had 312 yards last year for the Cardinals, 3.4 per carry. It was pretty easily his best season. That's nothing.
It is.
That's worse than Jaleel, who we haven't brought up, but probably by efficiency would be better than any backup Chiefs running back. Is certainly better than any Raiders running back other than Jeanty. And then Chargers do have Vidal and who did we decide? The Keaton Mitchell, who have gotten touches. Might be
Keaton
the best.
Mitchell had a moment when he was healthy.
Did. There we go. 5.8 per attempt, 341 yards. He had that stretch last year.
Nice.
Yep. But again, if we were just to do that for Jaleel, so we hear 348 and 5.8 per carry. For his career, Jaleel is at 5.5 per carry.
Wow. Okay. So how are we weighing this? Because
that's 2 seasons with more totals.
The Chiefs hardly have a backup.
Right.
But we put them as one as the starters.
Right.
The Broncos very clearly have the highest weight of combining 1 and 2.
Yep.
Especially if we are gambling on JK's health.
Right. I think so. Let's say JK gives you
Kenneth
10
Walker
games.
also has never been just like an every down, like we're going to keep him out there the entire time guy.
Right. Let's say,
I guess maybe he was after the injury to Charbonnet.
Yeah, for like a couple months. So if we expect J.K. Dobbins to play 10 games, that's probably right where I'd set the line if I'm a sports book.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm just me. You say you get 10 games of J.K. Dobbins and 7 games of RJ Harvey. Is that better or worse than 17 games of Kenneth Walker?
I mean, show me what did the Broncos rush for last year?
Let's see.
Because that's what happened.
Right. So you had the RJ.
I'm most interested in like yards per carry because all the other stuff is going to be combined, which will be weird.
Right. So let's just see. Broncos yards per carry last year. Broncos yards per carry 2025. 4.4.
Okay. What did Kenneth Walker do?
That's going to be, I think, the same number. He was 4.6.
Okay. I'm just going to use that as the tiebreaker.
Okay. I go Broncos because I think on top of that, you also get RJ Harvey as your number 2 for those 10 games. I think Jaleel as your number 2 down the stretch is better than anything the Chiefs have as a number 2. Like, I think you're so much better in those 10 games. And I think Kenneth Walker is so mid, despite that one game we all saw, that the gap between him and Dobbins is bigger than the gap between him and Harvey.
You make a compelling case. We can roll with it.
I mean, it's easy to err on the side of the Broncos.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So Broncos, number one. Chiefs fans might be mad, but that's just because they spent so much money. Number two probably has to be the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Chargers having actual depth makes that kind of interesting, but you still probably have to go Chiefs.
Yeah.
If you get to the end of the year, though, and say, wow, I thought those Chiefs running backs are going to be better than the Chargers running backs, that might sound so stupid. Because Hampton is certainly more talented than Kenneth Walker. He just was hurt and also was a rookie. And so
also that team has real running identity.
It's true. They actually want to run the ball.
Yeah.
Like Kenneth Walker, you want to just throw him the ball.
I think the only reason the Chiefs want Kenneth Walker is because they're like, oh, we have to take some load off of Pat when he's going to be coming back hurt. They're not actually committed to being a running football team.
Right.
I'm putting the Chargers too.
I love it. Why not? Chiefs 3, and then Raiders 4.
Yeah. And
that might be a trend.
There is a world in which somehow the Raiders money ball together an offensive line and we get to see what Ashton Jeanty really looks like.
Right. There's a chance they have the best of the group. We're going to do tight ends next, which might be a bit of a vibe kill. But it's been fun so far. We're going to do that in just a second.
Shout out to our friends over at Taco Bell. Everything in this world is getting more and more and more expensive. And
it's true.
It's hard to even go to a fast food restaurant and fill up for under $10. That's something you can now do with our friends over at Taco Bell, thanks to the Luxe value menu, where you can get up to 10 items for $3 or less. And you got to check it out. You got to go over there, snag 3 items for $9, a little tax. Boom. You have yourself a nice little meal from our friends over at Taco Bell. And right now they also have the chicken crunch wrap sliders, which is just a great combination of words. Small, warm tortilla filled with premium all-white meat, marinated chicken seasoned with bold spices and tossed in a crunchy tortilla chip coating, of course, delivered in that iconic crunch wrap shape. So get over there, check it out. The new crispy chicken crunch wrap slider. Go ahead and slide into something craveable. Live Moss at Taco Bell.
Also, shout out to our friends over at Surfshark. The double S sometimes gets me. It's the double S's with the Invisalign that really gets me.
Wow.
Surfshark. There we go. They're awesome. Using a VPN is important. It's more important as time goes by. I used to think I didn't need one. I started using one a year or two ago. There's a whole bunch of perks. Obviously, just the security of it is nice. Not being tracked is nice. Having all your information encrypted is nice. But it's also nice for, our guy D-Line. Spends a lot of time in Serbia, wants to be able to just say, I'm in America. And by saying I'm in America, gets access to all the things that he likes to watch on the internet that would be otherwise blacked out when you're over across the country. Surfshark is the best option. It's where we all go. There's a 30-day money guarantee. So if you don't like what you've gotten, then you can just get your money back. There's 24/7 customer service. The whole household is secured. There's no need to count the devices. Just one account. Use it for unlimited devices. And they offer 4,500 different servers in 100 locations. So go to surfshark.com/DNVR Broncos or use code DNVR Broncos at checkout to get 4 extra months and a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee of Surfshark VPN. Back into the Toyota Lounge for the DNVR Broncos podcast. And after all the fun with the receivers and running backs, we now get to move to tight end, where let's say Evan Ingram, our Xfinity X Factor presented by Xfinity. Imagine that. Because if Evan Ingram is the best tight end in the division, you now have the best player at every position if JK stays healthy, which is pretty crazy to think about.
And it sounds crazy because it is crazy.
Right. Right.
Because I was thinking if Kelsey's continuing to decline, yeah, sure. And then I remembered Brock Bowers exists. And
that's the tough
There's
part.
no world in which Evan Ingram is better than Brock Bowers.
No, because they do the same thing. They're both slightly undersized. Speed is maybe the wrong word. For Evan, you could use speed tight end, but just the craftiness that Brock Bowers had is crazy. almost 1,200 yards as a rookie, 112 catches. Last year goes from 70 per game to 56 per game, and also misses 5 games. So it's not like the Lad McConkey thing where it's like, yeah, I think that he's just like, he'll have a few more 1,000-yard seasons probably, but there's going to be more that are like in the 800s because he's a slot guy and it is what it is. Like Bowers is going to be a big time receiver because there are just so many different ways you can use him. You can send him downfield, you can sit him underneath and check down. Like it's probably to me just like a more talented, but maybe not quite as big Travis Kelce, which is not something you want in the division. He's going to be an issue for a long time.
Yeah.
Good news is Raiders trade him away and over under 4.5 years because that's what they do.
Yeah, I mean, they did trade away Khalil Mack.
They did all they could to get rid of every good player that they've had.
At a certain point,
Like Max
there's
Crosby,
diminishing returns on having the best tight end in the league when the rest of the team sucks.
Right. And they will realize that and they will trade him away and it'll be a terrible move.
Okay. So Bowers, I don't know if we're already getting into ranking.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, he's obviously
obviously number one. Is Travis Kelce obviously number 2? Started every game last year, 851 yards. Hasn't had a 1,000-yard season since 2022. He gets the pity Pro Bowl because he's Travis Kelce. It's the LeBron All-Star thing. Right, exactly. Or it's like we're not going. Somebody's going to vote for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, 984, 823, 851, still great numbers for a tight end.
I can't even fathom a Broncos receiver or tight end getting those numbers.
No, I mean it's been since Shannon Sharp, I would imagine.
Maybe Julius Thomas.
Oh, did he ever get over? He probably got into the 800s. I bet this is gonna be close. He peaked to a 788.
Okay.
Yep. 12 touchdowns, though, which Travis hasn't had 12 touchdowns since, again, 2022. 5.35. Like, I don't think he's going to be better this year than he was last year.
Yeah. Another guy that I threw in a lot of those touchdown parlays was Oronde Gadsden.
Right. Who I can't say right now that I'd rather have Gadsden than Kelce, but I think at the end of the year, we might look back and say, good thing they had him.
Yeah.
So 664 as a rookie, missed a couple games, 3 touchdowns, only started 7 because it was kind of later in the year they put him in.
If I could recall, I think he started off pretty hot or had like a 3-week stretch where he did most of that damage. And then tapered off.
He had 164 against the Colts in week 5. Yeah. And that was of the 664, that alone did a lot.
20% of the whole season.
You could throw in like the 68 before, the 77 after, and the 68 after that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're talking 377. So again, like more than half. But that 164 really did the damage.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I think
we're still Kelce too.
We are. But I do think if you were to say Gadsden's going to be more productive than Kelce this year, I don't think you're crazy.
No.
But we might as well just...
It'd probably be like plus 200 at least, though.
Right, because everybody would bet on Kelce. Yeah. The value would certainly be on Gadsden at that plus 200, though.
Yes.
Yeah, so from there, you have Evan Ingram, of course, who has the best season of any of these guys except for Kelce. Mm-hmm. No, that Bauer season would probably be better.
Yeah.
It would be better.
Third best season.
Right. Behind Gadsden, the Chargers have Charlie Kolar, a good, productive, like, if you like Adam Troutman,
yeah,
here's your guy. The Raiders have Michael Mayer, I think is how we decide we say that, who is a good...
He's good.
Yeah. And then Carter Runyon and our old friend Alberto. Kind of fun. The Chiefs have Noah Gray, Jared Wiley. Doesn't really matter after that. So I think... So Adam Troutman, Noah Gray, we've talked about that one a lot because they get paid basically the same amount of money and they're in a lot of ways the same player. Maybe a little more receiving with Noah Gray, but not by much. Charlie Kolar probably also just cancels that out.
Yeah, people definitely wanted Kolar more than Troutman.
Yeah, they did. I
don't know if they were right, but
right.
That was the thing that people really wanted.
So he got 3 years, $24 million, which would put him a tick in front of Troutman and Gray.
Mm-hmm.
To me, they're all close enough that it really does come down to just the starters. Unless you want to, especially with Mayer in there too.
So the question is really just Gadsden? You keep saying Gadsden.
I think there is a second D.
Okay.
Weird names though. They always pronounce them weird.
OG versus Evan Ingram.
Yep.
For the seller.
Yep. I think you probably just go Gadsden.
Do you take the potential of Ingram, who's shown he can be a 1,000-yard receiver at this level?
Evan's like 31, but he still is, between him and Gadsden, the upside guy, which just feels backwards, you know?
Yeah, well, he has the highest proof of concept.
Right. And
so
from week 8 on, for example, after that little stretch from Gadsden, 26 yards per game.
And there's just going to be so much room for Evan Ingram to work with Jaylen Waddle out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Evan Ingram was better than Gadsden last year in the second half of the season.
Settled it for me.
Okay.
Broncos 3rd, Chargers 4th.
Okay. Yep, we can do it.
Okay.
They're very similar though.
And don't forget about Lucas Kroll, who will be coming up in our next conversation.
I almost said that, and then I looked at then Tanner McLaughlin is up. And our old friend Thomas Yasmin is the number 4 for the Chargers. Okay. He was the Australian player because you get to keep an extra guy on the practice squad if he's international. He was like might as well keep him. He's not from America guy last year, 2 years ago. I can't remember. It doesn't matter.
Be more Canadian players in that role.
It does. Yeah, maybe this is the year for the Broncos.
Could be.
They really like the Australians. Who's the guy from Africa? The guy who Sean Payton gave Pat Surtain a pair of cleats that were way too big. And I was like, what do you think of the cleats? And he's like, they're way too big. I gave him to... He was like, I'm blanking on his name. What's his name? I was like, it's... we knew the name. He's like, yeah. But now I also don't remember his name.
Dang. Okay.
Really big guy, though.
Let's get to the final rankings.
Yes. It's the Broncos number 1,
The Broncos definitely number 1, which...
Yeah.
It's crazy how much adding Jaylen Waddle just changed the whole picture.
Right. Because now you're not so if you were to say who is the best skill position player in the division,
it's Jaylen Waddle.
Right.
Well,
with
Brock
Bowers would be the conversation.
Yeah.
Take your pick.
Yeah.
And I don't even know, if you were to tell a team just for this year, you get to add one of these two guys. Who do you want this season?
Most people would probably take Bowers because it's there's a bigger cliff
unique.
at the position.
Right.
You have a super, super top tier and then it drops off pretty heavily. So I think it's just in the fantasy draft why great tight ends will go really early because you know that you're not going to be able to get a great one in the 6th round.
Right. But then the rest of the Raiders are the Raiders. And so they're not even a threat for number 1 in these rankings, I don't think.
That's why I don't care about Max Crosby being there.
Fair enough. I do think Brock Bowers is going to be a Pro Bowler. Max Crosby is going to be a Pro Bowler. Tyler Linderbaum is going to be a Pro Bowler. And all of a sudden you're looking at okay, this is a team with 3 Pro Bowlers, which half the league isn't going to have. All you need is Jeanty pops or a couple of guys pop and you start saying oh, they actually have a decent amount of top end talent. But as of today, they do not.
And their owner has a Pro Bowl cut.
Right. That is true. He does have a Pro Bowl cut. Broncos number 1.
Yes.
We decided Chargers had number 2 receivers.
And higher running backs than the Chiefs.
We did decide that. So I think it has to be. And that Bowers does not carry all of them. They do have Kenneth Walker. They do have receivers with upside. And Kelsey. And Kelsey 80% cancels out Bowers.
The Raiders aren't employing a wide receiver at the moment.
They aren't.
So that puts them in last.
Circle back. Name a Raiders receiver.
Trey Tucker.
There we go. Okay. It is. If you could forget in 20 minutes, that'd be crazy. But no, it probably is Raiders last, Chiefs 3rd.
Yep.
even though they spent all that money on Kenneth Walker. And in 2 years, they will regret that. All right. We have a big, important conversation to get to.
So let me set the stage here.
Oh, I should say, that was the Xfinity X Factor. Evan Ingram could all of a sudden give the Broncos crazy rankings and all these. Xfinity, imagine that.
Okay. Shout out Xfinity. This was posted by our friend, Zach By.
Right.
Good friend.
Very good friend.
And I think he's on our side of this, but he did post it. He said, I can't believe I'm even going to ask this, but we're having a split debate behind the scenes at the station. If the Denver Broncos played the Colorado Rockies 162 times in baseball, would the football players win a single game? Posted as a poll. The options are yes, they'd win one, and absolutely not. The poll results will shock you.
Yep.
Yes, they'd win one. Got 34% of the vote.
Yep.
Absolutely not. The correct answer got 66% of the vote.
Of course not.
Which is remarkable to me.
Right.
So then I chimed in, and I think this is where it actually becomes an interesting conversation because we can put the other one to bed pretty quickly. I said I would bet heavily on the Broncos not scoring a single run in 162 games.
Right.
This has stirred up a whole new debate in my mentions. And a lot of people are very against me, but I will say sometimes those people are just the loudest. 122 responses to this tweet, 3.1 thousand likes. So I think more people agree with me than not. First and foremost, the Broncos never come close to winning a game.
Right.
I would say confidently there's never a game within 10 runs. And I would also say confidently, like, I don't know how they ever get off the field in the first inning of game one.
Right. Right. So I think you start with, so the Rockies pitcher is Lucas Kroll. Because he actually was a pitcher. He was a college pitcher who eventually converted to football. He pitched at JUCO pitcher, then pitches at Florida, and then at Pittsburgh. And I believe at Pittsburgh is where he also started playing football.
Okay.
He was a 34th round draft pick in 2018. So that was after 2 years at JUCO, going into playing otherwise. So I think and
let me just say, with the most due respect to Lucas Kroll,
yep,
as a 34th round draft pick,
right,
his chances of ever making it to the big leagues were incredibly low.
Yes.
Incredibly low.
Like, think of who would be drafted in the 34th round of the NFL.
Yes. And if the NFL had, 3 feeder teams below the big team.
And you imagine half of the first round draft picks in baseball actually play in the majors.
Yeah.
And that's the first round.
The first round.
So now think of what that would do to 34th round NFL players. And then you have an idea of 34th round of baseball.
Yeah.
Which is why, did they cut that off now? I think they shortened the draft. 34th round might not exist.
Let me just look at players who have maybe made it to the majors that have been drafted in the 34th round or below.
Oh, right. Because I bet there's there's got to be somebody.
You can talk a little bit about that.
I'll
Lucas
talk
Kroll's
through.
the pitcher. He's also probably the best hitter.
You would think, just because he played at that level of baseball. I pulled up the 34th round of that draft. You have, okay. So Ty Madden made it to the majors. And also Spencer Schwellenbach, which is to a lot of people means nothing.
Means nothing
which
to me.
is fair, but has pitched. He is 15-11 in the majors. Started 38 games, 3.23 ERA. So there was a good pitcher that came out of that. And then the other guy.
I wonder if he was then drafted in a higher round in later years.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because in the MLB, you can just draft Michael Vick, a thing that the Colorado Rockies did.
In 2021, he was then a second round pick.
Okay.
Changes
the equation. He was probably 17 at that point.
He was, yes.
And got drafted in the 34th round. He declined to do that, probably went to college.
Right.
And
yeah, he was 18. He had just turned 18.
Yeah. So yeah, like the MLB, you can just draft anyone.
You can't.
The Broncos the Rockies famously drafted Michael Vick, Russell Wilson.
Just for fun.
Yeah.
Because like, why not? None of these guys matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's like, should we take Henry Chisholm or Michael Vick?
Right.
They
Totally.
decided to go with Vick.
Probably right call.
Probably the right call. Well, neither of you would have ever contributed for the team. So again, we have one drafted player from the 34th round.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably pitching. We'll say he can hit 90. More?
Not more.
Okay.
I would guess not more.
So that increases the chances of getting an out quite a bit.
Right. Right. But I would say if you have Lucas Kroll, he's probably
He can only go for you 1 day a week.
which is important to get to. So I think if you gave him a year to work on it, still is not like a high A player.
Starter.
Like maybe he's a low A starter. Even that I would doubt. So it's low A, high A, double A, triple A, and then the majors, which means that he is still absolutely getting shelled, even if everything goes well. And we're giving him this year of training and not saying like, oh, you haven't pitched a baseball in 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah. And so there also has to be some sort of like time element in this where it's like, is there a run rule?
Does the season start today? Right.
Because if there's a 10 run rule, it might happen in the first inning of every game.
Right. Most games it would. Because like you do have a guy who should in theory be able to hit the zone, but he's just getting rocked over and over.
And like, yeah, whoever's at third base is in grave danger.
Totally. And right. grave danger. You need a guy at first base who has, can just catch the ball.
Yep.
I think of like a Courtland Sutton.
Yeah.
Who ChatGPT told me played baseball at SMU. Totally wrong.
Yeah, he played basketball.
Right. Almost similar in terms of like word structure. Very different sports.
But he's a professional football player. He played college basketball. And I've heard he's one of the better golfers on the team. He is a top tier athlete.
Right.
So
and we've also seen him in a home run derby at Coors Field multiple times. Is one of the best. Does not have a swing that looks like it belongs anywhere near any level of baseball.
And he's swinging at 45 mile per hour pitches at that point.
Right. He has put one out though.
He did. I think we did see him hit one into the stands at 45 miles per hour.
Again, on a pitch that the pitcher was trying to, like the pitcher's goal was for him to hit a home run, which I think is an important distinction compared to Kyle Freeland, for example.
Okay. So throwing out the chances of them winning a game so quickly. Because I don't know how this ever sparked a debate.
Right. Because there are going to be more no hitters than not.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
And again, if there's any sort of run rule, it's happening in the first inning often.
80%?
But just for the sake of argument, for the next part of this, which is could they ever score a run, we'll say there's no run rule. They have to go through with all these games, which probably take 8 to 10 hours each.
Right.
Could
you imagine?
162 out of 200 days?
Right. And so then you're saying like, okay, if our strategy is Lucas Kroll, he's out after 80 pitches probably, assuming like give him some real training, and you get him once every 5 days. Like you're burning through all sorts of arms. It's like your second best arm is not getting through an inning. Your third best arm, not getting through that inning either. Like you're probably going through like 4 pitchers, and then you're not pitching them the next day. So like
you're gonna have to forfeit several games just to rest.
Right. Even with 53 guys, you start to wonder like every 4th day, are you just out of guys who've just like burned their arm out?
Yeah. Someone in the comments said, "Am I tripping or outside of pitching is baseball not by far the easiest sport to pick up? Broncos definitely getting a win."
Oh my! They're not making contact.
They didn't play sports.
They're not making contact.
I think baseball is
the hardest.
One of hockey,
skating. Yeah.
Yeah, you're putting people on skates for the first time in their life. It's going to take a while.
Right.
But baseball is up there in terms of the hardest to pick up.
Because and the strategy. So like the Rockies
at the highest level, because it's also one of the ones where there's the biggest gap between like even high level college baseball and the majors. Like I would say that's the biggest gap of any of the sports.
No, because the Rockies take the college Heisman, like slugger, outfielder, SEC 2 summers ago. He is still not ready to play against MLB pitching. And he was the very best college baseball player. Third pick in the draft.
Yeah.
And he's still not, like, they're like, yeah, you're just not there yet. And meanwhile, like,
so that's
the Rockies,
like Mendoza not even being close to being ready to play 2 years from when he gets picked number 1.
Right. If he's playing 3 years from now as like a 24-year-old, you're like, oh, this guy's he's doing it.
Yes.
This is what you look for. Meanwhile, the Rockies closer from last year, who hurt his elbow, but he hit, I think, like 103.5 miles per hour, fastest pitch in Rockies history. He's not even on the roster this year. He is in AAA. You put the 103 miles per hour guy, like, imagine what you would do if you just called him up against any of these guys.
And
there's blowing it by him. There's no contact.
We're talking about fastballs, which they can just throw sliders the entire game.
Right. And again, like, I don't know. So you do have, like, Zach Allen was a good high school baseball player.
Okay.
Again, is not making contact, though, when you put him up there.
Well, he can make contact, I
think. You think so?
By a game 162 at least.
Oh, at some point he does.
Yes.
But, like, in any given at bat, you're saying, no, he's not making contact.
Yeah.
Because you hit him with the fastball, it's going right by him. You hit him with the slider. None of these guys have been like...
They've never seen the slider slide like that.
Exactly. They've never seen it go from here all the way out there. And on top of that, just recognizing what's in the zone and what's not.
I know.
Like, you're swinging at every single pitch.
Or you're not swinging at every single pitch because you're kind of scared.
Right. We haven't even factored in how scared they are of seeing that baseball come at them. That was my biggest issue.
That would be scary.
Yeah.
Especially at the first few times you see it.
Right.
So the debate is, could they get a single run? And I think it comes down to, does Courtland Sutton time one up at some point? Does Zach Allen time one up at some point? You got 162 games. They're taking batting practice every day before the game. There's really no time for practice.
Right.
Because you're playing 6 out of 7 days. So yes, you could practice that one other day, but the guys probably need a rest. And
at some point, are there 4 walks in an inning?
And that part, I
don't think so.
That's one of the main topics that are coming up, or like somehow the bases got loaded and they walk in a run. I'm pretty strongly against that one. I don't think the pitchers are maybe 1 walk a week because they're not afraid of throwing strikes.
Right.
Like when you're going up against Aaron Judge, you're thinking like, I have to.
If you throw 2 balls, you're not throwing any breaking ball again.
Yes.
It's just fastball down the middle. He's not going to touch it.
And you're just thinking like, if you're going up against a professional player, you're like, I don't want to be in the middle of the zone. You're going up against these guys. You're just like, let me just get this over with. Like, burn 3 fastballs right by them and let's move on.
And occasionally a pitcher just doesn't have it, which you see, and they just like struggle with all that stuff. But if they're not trying to give up a run, like, so that's the kicker to me, is like, if they're intentionally saying we are not giving up a run in this game, then you say, wait, this guy just walked a batter or walked 2 batters. Bring up the next pitcher, because that's not going to happen. Right. If they say we're up, whatever it is, we're up 47-0 in the 8th inning, do we really care? Like, let this guy have his inning. Then that might be different.
And that was a big case in my mentions as well. And that one, it just bores me. I don't think it's really
did the
Broncos or did the Rockies get so bored that they just let them score?
Right.
We have to assume that that's not a possibility.
Right.
So yeah, does one of these guys, big, strong athletes, at some point time up a fastball now that they've seen it for 140 games?
And you just imagine how defeated they are. Like, imagine showing up.
Just world-class athletes getting embarrassed on a daily basis.
Because baseball, they basically play like 9 out of 10 days for what? April, May, June, July, August, September, for like 6 months, a little more than 6 months. You show up 4.5 months into that, you're just losing. I mean, on average, you're giving up 50.
Yeah. How many oblique strains from like wayward swings?
Right. Right.
So I'm at a point where I think, like I said, I would bet heavily on them not scoring a run the whole time. I think I would still make the bet, but I'm not saying it's impossible. I think it is possible that at one point, one of these guys guesses right. They've now seen 95 mile per hour fastballs, enough time to know what that feels like.
Also, we are heading to overtime now.
A thing that the Rockies and Broncos would never do in a baseball game.
Not once.
Go over to the website, check it out, thednvr.com if you're watching on your TV.
Also, so Daniel Sepp throws out, how far down the system do you have to go before it's close? So like I mentioned, so like Class A.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
I just want to make the point also that I do believe, because I felt like some people thought I was like disrespecting football players. I just am paying the most respect to professional athletes of any sport.
Right.
The Rockies also could never score a point against the Broncos defense as a football team.
Fun fact, Jake McCarthy, Rockies outfielder, incredible high school football player.
Okay.
He was a running back, won the Pennsylvania like state running back or offensive player of the year over Saquon.
Wow.
Yeah. 6,000 career rushing yards.
Okay.
Unfortunately, no blockers.
Yes. And that's the thing.
You're right.
Is Zach Allen versus Michael Tolia? Is he still around?
No, he's a Red. Well, I mean, he's in the Red system. He's not actually playing for the Reds. He played for the Rockies.
But I'm just trying to think of a big guy.
Right. So like I don't even
Goodman, is he big?
Hunter, I mean 5'10", 220. So like yeah, he is probably the guy you're the first baseman's got to be 6'5", 220. Or third baseman too. So those are your tackles. 6'5", 220.
It's never had. First down might be the better debate.
Oh, it almost is. So my theory is, so if you're the Rockies playing defense against the Broncos, so Broncos spread everything out, you don't, like you still just leave everything in the box if you're the Rockies. And
just
because the Broncos are still running, because they can just run for 6 yards every single time.
6?
No, I'm saying every single time. There will not be a run shorter than 6.
I don't think they would ever face second down.
So we're saying 17-game season?
Yeah. I don't care how many games.
At some point, something happens.
Trips or
like you're blitzing everybody. In that case, I mean, you probably do maybe just throw the ball.
Well, yeah, Bo Nix is just slinging it out there. Jaylen Waddle, who's waltzing in for a touchdown.
But even 11 on 8 in the box, you're still winning that. Yeah, I'm saying 6 every time. There's not once where it's not 6.
Okay. Yeah, that's incredibly low. But it doesn't matter.
Oh, I mean, you're averaging a touchdown.
The lowest carry would get you a first down every 2 plays, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Based on yours. So, yeah, that game would also.
Right.
I think the Rockies could maybe get a first down off of like.
So.
Maybe not.
Unfortunately, traded the third baseman Ryan McMahon last year, who was the quarterback at Mater Dei.
He told me he sucked.
Shoot. So that pokes a hole in that one. Not even on the team anyway.
He just ran. He couldn't really throw that well.
It's not NFL fast, that's for sure. I mean, I don't know what the
first down.
You almost have to go like flag football style, you know, like all those weird plays they were running.
Could
like,
they cross the 50? I don't think so.
Right, because you wouldn't do anything running a traditional play. Like there isn't a single one of those guys who even once gets open versus Pat Surtain. Like he wins that every single time, and that's where you factor in like the quarterback making the throw to like, even if he did get like a tiny bit of separation on a slant and you could throw it right here and Pat's not going to reach. Quarterback's not making that throw. He's certainly not getting the ball there before the window closes and the pressure's in his face anyway. And that's assuming he's even alive by the third drive of the game when you finally get that one window to throw to.
To tie a bow on this, they would never win a game so obviously.
Right.
What's your take? I'm saying I'm still betting against them scoring a run, but I'm not calling it impossible. What is your take?
I bet at some point they probably do score.
Okay.
But I'm not sold on that.
It's only on a home run, in my opinion.
Right. I think the walks could happen. I think that's more likely than them. And going back to the Daniel Sepp's question, what level would they have to play?
Okay.
Again, Lucas Kroll, if all goes perfectly well, is like a low-end, low-A pitcher. Every single one of the Rockies' A-ball pitchers belongs there. They also have hitters. Like, I think the question should be, could the Broncos beat a high school team?
No.
I still would take like a good Colorado high school team over the Broncos.
Yes. Now, 162 tries, I think the Broncos might eventually get a win.
Against a high school team, absolutely. Yes. I think even like 30.
Yeah, I think so too.
Again, like you have Lucas Kroll out there pitching, he would be a good high school pitcher.
Very good.
Yeah. I mean, how many... I wonder how many Colorado players were drafted last year.
I don't know, but we have to wrap up.
This will be my last one. Do you say some closing stuff?
Okay. Professional athletes are incredibly good at their craft. They're also predisposed to be better at other crafts. It's just they didn't take the time to get that good at that craft.
So 3 were drafted last year. 3 Colorado pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
3 Colorado high school players were drafted last year.
Total.
Yeah.
So
again,
Lucas
like
Kroll is
Lucas Kroll
immediately
is
a top player. Right. This just wears the fall off. I think Jarrett Stidham also was a good high school baseball player.
Okay.
So we'll put him. They're gonna win it.
They're gonna win games.
Yeah.
The hitting's gonna be an issue. You'll by
and
the second half.
The problem is how many until there's a massive hole in the lineup and a massive hole in the defense.
Exactly. And then second half of the year when you have that's when your defense is going to get decent. Because you've got Mims and Waddle in the outfield. I don't know who your third is, but you got speed in the outfield, but speed that doesn't really know what they're doing. And that they're going to be crazy errors for the first half of the year. Second half, though, they're going to be decent at some things. Like shortstops, somebody's probably played, but I don't know.
Yep. Also, we'll finish here. Only Hoop says, I'm curious the average high school baseball team would do against a major league team like the Rockies. Give me the best high school team in America. They're still going 0-162.
Yes.
And we will end there.
Yep, we will end there. And we will be back on Monday for more. Also, Rockies play tonight. Watch along tonight if you guys want to hang out. Don't watch the Rockies alone. Or maybe just don't watch the Rockies. See you guys on Monday.
God bless Bo Nix.
We all silly like the mayor.